Taurus 13, a man handling baggage. So once again, Jones and Rudhyar look at the two different aspects of this image. On the one hand, you have a porter, a man whose job it is, typically a man, to pick up something heavy and put it somewhere else. That's it. Just lifting heavy things all day, every day. Hard to imagine how he would ever enjoy that as a way of life. Hard to imagine how he would enjoy his life, really, with that job and that attitude to that job, which is resentful. And this doesn't only describe a porter. This describes many people whose job is simply to make money. They don't like doing it. A lot of people are like that. And in a word, it's wrong from the esoteric point of view. First of all, it's wrong to choose such a job. The idea that you have to, that there's no other job available, that's an idea that you've allowed to creep into your way of thinking. It was given to you at some point that it's like that you're supposed to do a job that you don't like for money, and that's how it is in life. Somebody told you that, and they were lying, or at least mistaken, and you've believed it, and you shouldn't have. It's not necessary. It really isn't necessary to do that. Sometimes you have to do something you don't really want to do, sometimes, for a little while, but it certainly is not necessary to live a life of slavery. It's the mindset of slavery that creates slavery in the world. I realize how controversial that statement is, but I stand by it. You have to work out a mindset that creates a set of circumstances that pleases you. And the porter hasn't done that, and that's bad enough. And then he goes and blames somebody else for his misfortune and feels resentful and cynical and starts throwing the bags in a haphazard way, hoping to break something precious inside of them. He wants to hurt a stranger for his own misfortune. That's actually what happens. People are living like that. It's crazy nonsense, but that's actually the truth of the matter. So what Jones is saying really is that whatever your circumstances, you have to bring to bear on that situation something positive. So if you're a porter, then just delight in the range and colour and shapes of all the bags. You know, you see a different one now and again, and you'll notice something about bags, because that's your life, or at least you could place them properly, gently, be courteous, and enjoy the fact that you're of service to people having a well-deserved holiday, and you're part of their holiday experience. You need to find some way, even in a position of apparent slavery, you need to find some way to make it meaningful to you, and if at all possible, on the level of soul. So the soul is engaged by beauty and service and the ability to withstand the grind of life without being ground down. That's quite something, just to notice that whatever is thrown at you cope. That's quite a nice feeling of triumph. You know, so at least the porter could actually experience triumph that he is not depressed. At the very least, that's a very poor answer to the problem, but at least it is an answer. That the thing is that whatever we're doing in life, whether it's our work or our duties and so on and so forth, we have to bring an attitude of consciousness to it so that we resist despair, we resist getting lost in the shadow of depression and so on. And we're challenged. This is not likely to escape any of us. We're all challenged to do something to resist despair and depression. The way to do it is to simplify what you think of as who you are and what that means. If you simplify that and like, I am a person in a situation, and what that means is an opportunity for the soul to experience this situation. And when the soul has experienced this situation enough, it will not want to experience it again continually. So I'll get something else. That attitude will bring soul consciousness to bear upon the situation. And this is light. And this is the movement of life through its process. And this will speed up, this will accelerate the escape from an arduous situation in life. And what Rudhyar is focusing on is that baggage is stuff. And sometimes we refer to our neuroses as our stuff, and also our baggage. We're carrying these things. Now, they can be psychological imbalances, and they can be actual things that you have to carry and put in a bag and have somebody carry for you. But eventually you're going to carry that bag yourself. And whether that's the things that you've bought that you didn't really need, or whether that's the things that you've believed that you didn't really need, or the emotions that you haven't allowed to clear out of your system, which you never needed in the first place. It's a similar process, isn't it? Where we tend to take on more than what we need, more than what we actually would find healthy for an active, vital life. It's mirrored in the material world. So our possessions, our physical possessions, are there for us to see incontrovertible evidence of an emotional block. If you've got more than what you need and you're taking up more space than is reasonable, that's evidence of an emotional block. And as such, it's very useful. Just look around you. See what you have physically in the room that you're in. Anything there which is just not serving a purpose, that's in the way? Why have you got it there then? Is this your inability to make a decision to get rid of it, to move it on, recycle it? Is that what it is? Is it evidence of your fear of future lack? Why have you got what you've got in your room right now? If it's all useful or beautiful, or to some extent you can allow some nostalgia, I suppose. If it's there, and it gives you some joy, yeah, okay. But what if it's not? What if it's just in the way and you haven't been bothered to clear it? And look in your kitchen cupboard to find foods that you'll never eat because they're old and out of date. Look in your garage, look in your attic. Just clear it out. It's a wonderful experience to clear out something that's accumulated over the years. You feel renewed. And to keep up to date with that is a real discipline. So in other words, carrying baggage is the inevitable result of having baggage. So don't have it. If you don't like carrying heavy, burdensome weights of responsibilities, then get rid of them. Shrug your shoulders. We're very often inclined to take on responsibilities for one reason or another. Genuine reasons in the first place quite often, but in the longer term, questionable. And then we don't let go of them. But you really ought to consider whether the responsibilities that you have are still valid. Do they still represent who you are and where you are in your life direction and what the soul would want for you? Your responsibilities are burdensome. So shrug them off if you can, if it's valid. The same with everything that you own. It's a responsibility that you have. Give it away if you can. It will make you feel better. So here we have the two sides of the coin. We have materiality itself, heavy baggage that we have to carry, and then the slavery that engenders in the porter who has to carry it, whether that's you or somebody else. It's still you're creating slavery, and therefore you're buying into the slave mentality that stops you from being free. And in both cases, an attitude of mind can shift. You shift your perception about what to carry in your life process. Let go of all of it if you can. Eventually we have to. There's no choice about that. Eventually we do have to let go of all of it. Everything, physical and everything, emotional and everything, mental even in the end. We have to let go of all of it on death. So practice that a little bit earlier and you'll find your dying process is softened.